The thrill of forging your own path is powerful. Nissan is bringing that thrill to our community in collaboration with the Black Effect Podcast Network to create The Thrill of Possibility, a community impact program and summit curated to support HBCU students in science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, or STEAM, and introduce them to exclusive opportunities. Nissan is committed to creating opportunity for the whole community and ensuring that Black excellence is a part of the new future of automotive. Learn more about the Thrill of Possibility program at blackeffect.com/podfest.
I hope you're listening, Bruce Wayne. This is your legacy, too. And Gotham needs you to answer for the sins of your father.
Hi, this is Michael Uslan. You're listening to Batman on Film.
I'm vengeance. I have given a name to my pain. The Batman.
Always waiting for some Batman to save you.
It's simple. We kill the Bat of Gotham.
Welcome to episode number 84 of the Batman on Film Social Hour podcast. I am the founder of Batman on Film, Bill Ramey. This is my little podcast, my little corner, podcasting corner of BOF, the website. And where I'm joined today again by senior BOF contributor Ryan Lauer. We are back with another episode, another edition, another installment, whatever term you want to use, of BOF's The Batman Chapter by Chapter series. We are on Chapter 10. We're on the downslide now, Ryan Lauer.
We are in the back half.
Yes.
You said 84. Bill, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Give me a cowboy. Number 84.
84? Oh, you put me on the spot.
Yeah.
Golly. 84. I'm going to lose my Cowboy fan card here.
It's all right. You can cut this out.
Patrick Creighton.
All right.
Let me check the Google machine, see if I'm right.
Boop, 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 boop. The back computer.
Let me see here.
Patrick Creighton. You're on it.
Was I on it?
Yeah. From 2004 to 2009. That counts. All right. This episode's dedicated to Patrick Creighton. We know he's listening.
Patrick Creighton. I'll throw out. I just hit me again. Jay Novacek.
All right.
Three-time Super Bowl champion tight end. 92, 93, 95 seasons. Creighton was 84. Wide receiver. Yeah. Undrafted free agent. Did pretty well for himself.
You don't have to take away any fan card.
Yeah. Well, thank you for putting me on the spot. I think I performed okay.
Yeah,
I performed okay.
Now the rest of this, you're gonna find something like, I'm gonna get his ass. I'm gonna question him. On
No. I like that. I didn't mean it in a negative way. I was like, okay, I kind of came through. I wasn't perfect. I didn't pop it out immediately, but Patrick Creighton was a good deep pool. I will say that. Okay. So, as we noted, we're on the backside of the Batman in terms of analyzing the chapters, and I found this one quite interesting to watch as it's within itself, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Not that I didn't find the others as interesting, but the mystery is starting to come together. The Riddler's plan, his clues he's leaving behind are starting to come together. Bruce Wayne, Batman, is starting to figure it out a little bit. He's getting close. He's getting close. Did you feel that way? I was watching this.
A little bit. I think this is. I mean, not exactly. So there's always I think in script writing, there's point of no return. And that's usually like almost towards the end of the second act. And I almost feel like this is the peak here, given the sins of the father allegation. Because and I thought about that and watching it, and so I don't think all the pieces have been laid out to where now we know how this is going to end. It just kind of feels like this is the worst spot. I'll
put it this way. I think that we know more than we did previously.
Yeah.
As we've, seen things, step by the Riddler's crimes individually and in his clues that he leaves for Batman and his videos he posts online. There is a bit of I will say this. I don't know if I want to call it a bait and switch or a red herring, but things I thought I had starting to figure out completely, even though like I said, it is getting closer. But as I watched it I tried to think of my mind watching it the first time, right? And so I started to think it was going to go, things were going to happen. It didn't happen the way I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of on purpose, right?
Which also good, because we still have,
which is good. Yes.
Over an hour left of the movie. It would really stink if we were like, oh, I know what's going to happen. The next hour was us just sitting there and knowing what happens. So
that's one of the good
It reminds me of The Dark Knight, though, of you almost feel like Bruce's low point is this chapter. What does that mean with The Dark Knight? Well, in The Dark Knight, Rachel gets blown up, half of Harvey's face is burned off, the Joker breaks free, and Bruce is at his low point. And so I just kind of really feel, okay, this is he's at the worst. We're at the peak to where now it's almost like now it's gonna whoosh and take off for the last act, if you will, or something. So it's some good good drama.
At the end of chapter 9, I think I would say the last line is Gordon saying, "Let's go," when the Batman figures out that they need to go to the old Wayne Manor orphanage, but then there is you goddamn sons of bitches.
We got the waddle.
Yes,
we got the waddle.
So they leave. In this chapter begins with them opening the door of the old Wayne Manor, which is turned into an orphanage.
I'm a big horror fan, and atmosphere and imagery, and them pulling up on the orphanage on the old Wayne Manor. I love that look, and I know it's only like 5 seconds, if you will, even, but I just think that looks really, really cool. And then, as you said, bust open the doors and go in. It's kind of sad that this is, Wayne Manor, because there's so much, the history of Wayne Manor, and we have an image in our head of what that looks and feels like, and it's old,
a drug house.
Down.
Drug shanty. House. It's drop heads hang out there. So Batman, first line I believe is no guns. Gordon says, "Yeah, man, that's your thing."
Yeah, love that.
Did you like the line of no guns? And yeah,
I laughed. My theater laughed a couple times that I saw it. Not belly laughter from everybody in unison or whatever, but you can hear it. It's kind of quiet at that moment too. So yeah, you definitely hear people chuckling throughout. And then it's funny because I laughed the first time, so I hear me laughing mostly, and then it's the other times when it goes, it's almost like I'm listening. Do others find that funny? And you hear a little, which is all I had. I wasn't the annoying one.
It's kind of, it's kind of like, ha.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of, that's really cool. You know what I mean?
That's cool. That's funny. That's like it's a little clever. Quick, it's witty. Like I don't know, it's good. Good stuff.
There was a line edited out when Gordon said, "Hey, yeah, man, that's your thing." Then Batman said, "You son of a bitch!
You son of a bitch!" Then they see the drop head, and Savage goes chasing after him. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
And then they go into, you could do a whole looking in each room as they're walking through this, and you just see each character. There's another one, Martinez. Hey,
yeah, for sure. So the ominous, it's part. Not only you mentioned just the look of, they go through Wayne Manor, and then it cuts them open up the door, and it's like a freaking haunted house almost. But you hear Ave Maria in the background, so now you're starting to go, okay, something. This is Riddler. Something's going to happen here. And they go enter. I guess what would that be like? Some sort of ballroom type place they had at
a very
Wayne
big
Manor.
Room to have in Wayne Manor, because that's not a living room. That's not a dining room. So I don't know.
So and the Riddler has a video playing. I watched because I didn't notice before, and I wanted to make note whether was he playing it on like a video projector, or
I thought it was a projector.
Did he go old school with a reel with film? And it is a video projector, on the box type.
I would feel like that would be it, because if they're playing this right, then it would have been like, I don't know, what, 20 something years ago, if the timeline was correct. So yeah, I mean, by 2000, I don't know how much to do in the full one. I don't know.
No,
I just thought it was a projector. But as soon as you saw it, did you pick up on like, oh, this is the prologue of the junior novel?
I want to say that I probably did, because I had read it and I knew I was aware. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
he's hard to spot in this. I know some people avoided reading the junior novel before seeing the movie. Totally understand why. In which I don't know that necessarily the novel gave stuff away, but it did give information before the movie, and like this. Oh, I know the whole context of this video. Oh, I also know that Edward Nashton is there. He's part of the choir singing. And we saw a trailer that would, that showed a picture like in Nashton's apartment of this day, and the news clippings and stuff like that. And so I know I was looking for him based on what we saw in trailers that he looked like. In which it's not, for people who didn't read the book, who maybe didn't know of, like, I know that could be something really cool. Multiple viewings, and you spot that on a fourth viewing where you're like, wait, holy crap, the last shot of that video screening, I think he's up in the right corner of the video. You see Edward Nash. Like, fun little nuggets like that, I think are interesting. It's not important that you make sure that you see that he's there the day. The importance is, okay, why is it's a video of Thomas Wayne talking about renewal playing in Wayne Manor, which is an old orphanage. That's the crux of. But the little bit of Edward Nashton was there that day. He was up in the top corner singing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's interesting.
It's it's a video. It's Thomas Wayne is at the old Wayne Manor, which has been turned into an orphanage, and he's announcing and discussing. He's running for mayor of Gotham. So it's a campaign rally, and he's talking about the creation of the renewal, that the Wayne Foundation is going to pump $1 billion, $1 billion into the renewal fund. And then you see graffiti, I guess, for lack of a better word, across the across various, sins of the father, renewal is a lie. And it's mostly just the video playing with, just there's not much dialogue between Batman and Gordon until Gordon basically, Jesus, his next victim is Bruce Wayne. And
what is the end of that? The sins of the father shall be. I knew I should have written that down. Shall be visited upon the son. Thanks, Google. Because that's So it's like that is another case of this is directly Matt Reeves. The guy did his homework. He's a fan. He's aware of the Telltale series.
Sure.
In which the comic book tie-in with that was called Sins of the Father. No, I don't know if chapter 2 of the game was Sins of the Father. Anyways, Sins of the Father ties into the Telltale series, in which a big crux of that is Thomas Wayne was not squeaky clean. That was always my nervousness going into this movie, was how shady are the Waynes? Because my preference is, and I think the story just works better and Bruce's mission works better if the Waynes are squeaky clean. It just works better for me that way. So I was really nervous, in which this chapter introduces those allegations, and it had me nervous. But then we'll get to a couple chapters down the road.
Well, he's clearly not the Thomas Wayne from Batman Begins.
Correct.
But he is not the Thomas Wayne of the Telltale series, and he is not, we'll get to it.
Yeah. We got some chapters.
But
anyways.
Gordon, Jesus, his next victim is Bruce Wayne. And he turns and Batman, he gone.
Classic Batman.
Yeah.
Classic.
It's like that. Is that the only time we see that kind of, Batman, the disappear Batman in the film?
I'm going to say right now, yes.
Okay.
I'm going to keep thinking, but I do think that's it.
So Batman is at that point, Batman is in the Batmobile and he's hauling ass to get back to Wayne Manor, or Wayne Tower, I should say. Wayne Tower, because he knows something's going down, because the Riddler doesn't know that he's out Batmaning, and Bruce, or Batman, knows that Bruce Wayne is the next victim. So he's on his Bluetooth in the Batmobile, Bluetooth phone connection, and he's calling Wayne Tower over and over and over again. What did you think about, I thought, like, are all the phones in Wayne Tower old rotary dial phones?
I didn't think about that, but yeah. I love what they did with Wayne Tower and making it feel old school, kind of gothic on the inside, but keeping it very, that is to me almost an influence of the animated series, because when they're in there, it definitely feels timeless. And so all of the smallest details with stuff. So there you go, the rotary phones. Where
That's why I just wondered.
Oh my gosh, it's so out of date. It's so old or whatever. But then, I don't know. That this movie does not take place in 1940 or anything either. So I love what they did and all of those touches with that.
That's why I just wondered if I wanted to know whether the video was projected, from a video projector, digitally, or was it old school film? Because even early 2000, I mean, by the early 2000s, no one was using big VHS home video recorders anymore either. It was all on at that time. There was the little mini discs,
DV tapes or discs,
because Jake was born in 2001, and we bought a video camera that was had a little disc in them, right? That was high tech back then.
It's cutting edge.
Just a few years earlier, when my other two kids were born, I filmed them on a VHS recorder. So anyway, just a quick anecdote about video.
There you go.
Parents videotaping their kids and how it changed from the mid to late 90s to early 2000s. Okay. So Batman's in a sheer panic, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is he slipped into Bruce Wayne at that point?
Only when Dory answers the phone, I think.
Yeah.
I think he's Batmaning for sure. And this is another great thing with Pattinson, I think, of the voice adjustment, which we'll get to also here coming up soon, of knowing he just has a subtle difference. It's not drastically different. Like how you could say like Affleck's Batman because he has the voice modulator, or Bale's, which has the growl. I think we've talked Pattinson's is just like this small change, fluctuation, but dips right into, I don't know, Dory, something terrible is about to happen. Like,
yeah,
it's just different. Batman doesn't talk like that. Gordon, something's about to happen or anything like that.
No.
I missed the 66 nod. Buddy Eric Carter told me after the first viewing, asked if I saw it, and I'm like, wait, what? And the Shakespeare statue.
Shakespeare, yeah.
It's fabulous. I just think the whole scene is edited really well.
Yeah.
Tension is good.
Here's a question for you. Can you even make a phone call on a rotary dial phone today?
I mean, you have to have a landline, right?
Yes.
I have not lived somewhere and my house or my home had a landline in like almost 18 years.
I'm trying to think. The last time I had a landline was probably that long ago.
Maybe
if you had a landline number and you plugged it in a phone jack in, it was a rotary phone, could you make a phone call on a rotary phone and go through? I have no idea.
Yeah, there you go. Assignment, whoever's listening.
Okay, someone who's listening, please email me, Jett at batman-on-film.com, and let me know, because I have no idea. I guess I get on the Google machine.
Figure it out. Here's Bill's phone number. Give Bill a phone call, and why don't you go ahead and tell him if it works?
That would be a disaster.
He's got a red bat phone right there in the BOF office. It'll ring if it works.
Bruce/Batman is racing home in a panic to Wayne Tower, and then Dory finally picks up the phone, and he tells her something terrible's about to happen, and she said it already has about an hour ago. And then there's that, kind of, I guess, a flashback, you want to call it, to Alfred at Wayne Tower going through mail, and then finds the package from the Riddler addressed to Bruce Wayne. And this is really it's kind of subtle. It feels like when you see it, it's like just obvious as heck. But like part of the package to the Batman has fire. It's wrapped in that fireproof cover, and it has fireproof literally on the package. And I don't remember if I caught that on my first viewing. Did you? I'm just curious. Okay. I can't remember if I did or not. But I can tell you this. I was thinking, holy shit, they're going to kill Alfred off in this one.
I thought the same thing. And then did a quick search through my archives of what I've seen. And I was like, in the trailer, Bruce says, "You lied to me, Alfred." We haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
So Alfred's gonna make it.
Yeah.
And that, it comforted me a little bit. Like, okay,
Yeah.
Alfred.
So
Just because I
yeah.
mean, Alfred's a mainstay in Batman. There's a couple things for me that's a mainstay of Batman always.
Mhm.
Alfred is one of them. And also, if you're gonna kill Alfred, you've got to have enough to where it's really gonna be worth something and like punch you in the gut. We didn't see enough of Circus's Alfred yet. I didn't think for them to do
Mhm.
that. This, of course, was after I assured myself that he's not dead, and then thought about it later. Well, they couldn't have anyway, because we need more Andy Serkis as Alfred before he
Yeah.
dies, because then it would hurt. So
My thinking was, because I was worried. I did not think about that scene, because I know sometimes they put stuff in trailers that doesn't make it into the
exactly.
final cut.
Yeah.
I thought, well, if you're gonna do something different, you kill off Alfred. That would be and because that would be look, that would be a big impact regardless,
Mhm.
right? To do that to
Mhm.
that big of a character. But then Batman is up right in. They show the shot at Wayne Tower. You can see you at the top. There's a fire.
Yeah. So do you
Well,
think
yeah.
with stuff that's not and this is the thing of like, it doesn't matter, but it did pop into my head after, like a second or third viewing of, police are there talking to Bruce and Dory. And Dory even says, well, Bruce called me and said something terrible is about to happen. But I never heard him say what that was. What did he find out? Like, what was going to happen? It's like, oh yeah, that'd have been quite another Bruce Wayne move to talk his way out of that works and seems logical. If police question him, well, what do you think was going to happen? Why did you think that was going to happen or something?
Yeah.
It wouldn't need it, but
Yeah.
it's a point of when that kicks up anxiety a little bit when it is oh shit, Bruce, you're caught, whether it is in comics or movies or something.
You know
and
what?
then he
I
finds his way out of it, that it makes sense. And I think that's actually why a lot of people complain about The Dark Knight Rises and Bruce Wayne returning back to Gotham. He just shows up because they're like, I didn't need to see it, but if it is Bruce Wayne being the smart way to get his way through, that was missing in that to some people, and people really wanted that. I think
I can explain it. The Riddler's video is the Riddler's video out at that I think the Riddler's video is out by that time. Where he targets Bruce Wayne.
It takes time. By the time we catch up to it, the news says it's already been seen by
15 million times.
It takes a while. So I feel like because this is all in one night too. So right. Okay. So now I'm rewinding some chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Escaped Crusader leads to meeting Gordon on the roof, which then leads to the Batmobile chase, questioning Penguin, now at the orphanage, now Wayne Tower blowing up. All that is the same night still.
Yeah.
This is a hell of a night. Bruce goes to the hospital and then meets Selina. I thought it seemed like, I don't know, I'm trying to think here. So maybe the videos dropped on their way out to the orphanage. I think Riddler would know too, since they were talking to him on that website.
Well, he says my next victim. He makes no. And I think the video was out. He could say, everyone say, well, the video was released. Bruce saw it and wasn't home and was calling to warn that attack was coming on to Bruce Wayne at Wayne Tower. So, because I think that, we're going to get to it here in just a second, but the scene with Selina appears to be at dawn of that night. It's not sunset the next day. The sun, it looks more like dawn. I think it gets a little brighter as the short scene progresses. So Anyway, the package has a bomb. Alfred tosses it away. It explodes, but he is still injured. And Bruce comes in. Cops tell him that it was intended for him. Then you see him at the hospital that you mentioned. I made note of this. The doctor says, ask Bruce, is there anyone else we should contact? And Bruce says, no, it's just me.
Yeah.
Is it dawning on him that they only got each other almost, they're each other's family?
Yeah. I think so. And what follows up with this, I don't know why. I love it. Smallest moment too of him back. Or wait, no. He's back at Wayne Tower. Okay. Remind me when he's back at the cave and the contact.
Okay.
I can say it now. We know where we're going. But with the contact with Selena I think that goes well with what you just said of the realizing with Alfred too, I think, because as we've seen in the movie so far, he gets annoyed when Alfred comes into the cave to see him. And at this point, he is just by himself. And then Selena's got the contact or whatever. And his response is just like very Bruce Wayne, I think. It's that shift again of just like, Selena, I don't know. I think they really nailed the point home here of his realization. But I think that's skipping ahead a little bit. We have stuff in between.
Yeah, there's the scene where he moves all the furniture.
Yeah.
And then he just puts all the clues together and he's forming this, instead of like doing it on a whiteboard or something, he's doing it on the floor and literally putting all things together in a diagram to see how it all connects.
Mm-hmm. It's all connected.
Yes.
Everything's always connected.
And he's putting the clues together with the victims. So now I'm starting to think about the timeline with everything that's happened. The Batmobile chase, Penguin interrogation, Wayne Manor / orphanage, hauling ass to Wayne Tower. That's it, where the bomb had gone off. Check on Alfred at the hospital. Back to Wayne Tower to put the clues together to see how everything's connected, because everything is all connected. Always has to be. and then
I'm surprised he didn't in the paint sprayed on the floor. Batfleck ?
Yeah.
Bale Batman ?
Yes.
It's all connected. Keaton return ?
Yes. And so then it's the shot of he's taking the cowl off and he's in the Batcave.
You forgot to mention the CGI muscles.
Yes.
We got the CGI muscle shot.
Yeah. Okay. Shot of Pattinson, because he didn't work out for this film.
He didn't. Most of the budget went into giving him abs and pecs.
Yes. He had
it's expensive.
Yeah. He had a 1 3-pound dumbbell and a Bosu ball. That's all he had. And so they had to do like Hulk. They had to Hulk him up with a CGI Bruce Wayne. So but that was some good digital FX right there. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
So then he's there and Selena contacts Bruce. Now I'm thinking, okay, did all of this transpire from like a night and a day, and now is he meeting her? Maybe it's not dawn. Is it?
I almost felt like it was dawn, because then he goes home and sees the report on the news and then follows up to the Iceberg Lounge. So I don't know.
Regardless, I think when the penguin during the penguin interrogation, when the Riddler when Batman was having that conversation with the Riddler, when they figured out, URL, that part. I think at that point, the Riddler sent his video out. That's just me. Interesting.
No, I didn't really think about it until we were just talking about it either. That to me makes the most sense of when they go to the URL and hit, then Riddler's, I can almost see it now, like he's back in his place, almost like, yay, the next, we're in the next phase now. He's on board, like he's progressing, whatever, with his plan. And so like once he starts that, even of like an orphanage and like goodbye, and then like the next thing he hits is release that video. Like, it just to me that snaps together. It makes sense to me. And it's open enough that somebody could come and tell us that they don't think so and say their way, and they're not wrong either.
Yeah.
Just kind of, I don't know, works.
I mean, I would just say with it having 15 million views when Batman sees it in the Batcave,
a lot of views.
Takes
a little while to get there.
Yeah. Okay. So it would have, we're talking about, if it's the next morning, I don't know. Okay.
It's how freaking good is this movie?
Yes. It's either
it's pretty good.
It's less than a day apart. It's either like a 6-hour or 12-hour span. So either he's meeting at Selena at dawn of the next day, or it's 12 hours later and it's sun setting and he's about to go on he's about to Batman it up. That's why he's got his Batman suit on. Whatever. So she has the contacts still that he gave her, the cameras, and she is trying to contact him. And he says, yes, I can see you. And it sounds like Bruce Wayne voice.
The first one, when he says Selena, like he sounds so normal, his look up at it and everything, it's the smallest thing. And it's not me trying to read too much into it. I always just I felt that way of just his saying her name and how he says it is different from the rest of that conversation. And then the next scene, him back in the suit and cowl. I feel like it took him just a second to snap out of that to where it was like this is like his guard's down when he says her name at first. And then the guards are back up a little bit and he starts to get back into the Batman stuff. And I'm no freaking clue if that's what they meant it. It's just kind of how I took it.
Yeah.
Every view.
I found him to have a subtle change in his voice as when he is Bruce Wayne and from when he's Batman. And it's subtle. And let me emphasize subtle because I think the whole point was there was no Bruce Wayne yet. It's Batman 24/7. But there still is a subtle difference, especially when he's talking to Selena as Bruce Wayne, or at that point. So then they meet at the Bat Signal and she comes in. She's almost full on Catwoman. She's got the mask, the little knit cap, cut out Catwoman, proto Catwoman mask, right? And he says, like very sarcastically, with kind of a sneer, Cat Burglar pulling another score, And she's all about she's gonna find Kinsey and she's gonna kill him and wants Batman to help her. And so there's a good dynamic with that, and then their conversation going forward, because Batman thinks one thing and she's coming from a totally different area, and he's wrong what he's thinking completely,
Yeah. You were waiting for her to say, for it to be revealed at some point he's her father in this movie, right?
I figured
Because we
that
know
was
the
case.
history.
Yes.
I don't know that I was thinking this right now, but also on rewatch, and you see they're like kind of escalating tense conversation really
Yeah.
quickly of like, oh, it's building toward a big, mic
Yeah.
drop or something.
Yeah.
To where he avoids being a-hole Batman here because he apologizes to her for what he says. And I thought he said it another time in the movie. I'm making that up.
He
But almost there's and not saying none of the other ones had humanity, but this, I don't know. It's like she doesn't have him, but he's very humanistic in the suit here with Selena.
he is again points out he's very much still at this point, because he had this with Gordon when it came to Savage at the morgue. It was that Batman didn't have much sympathy for these people because, and he tells her, and he's talking about Annika, choices have consequences.
Mm-hmm.
You made those choices. She got involved with hanging out with the mayor and all this stuff, and and got too close. Choices have consequences, and he's like, he says, what did you do to compromise yourself to set up that score? He's thinking she was just all in on setting up a big heist.
Yeah.
To steal the money. And she was doing whatever with the Penguin or Falcone to make this happen, to be inside, to know about it, to know where the, all that stuff. So, and it's a great scene because, Batman, maybe you don't know necessarily if she's going to say what she said, but he clearly thinks one thing about her, and she says Falcone owns me that money, and he's still very dismissive, like
yeah,
and
even as when she said that, because he's my father,
she delivers that line excellently. It's great.
Yes. Yeah. The way it needed to be said and done. And it's funny because this is such a Selena Kyle. I think right now how they're writing her a lot in comics and stuff is she's a hero right now. And I kind of feel like that's what we want, but that's kind of not what we should get.
Mm-hmm.
Because Selena Kyle, to me, I don't think she works best as a full-on villain either. She's in that shades of gray middle. And so how I relate it to this is she said, because he's my father. So she wants to go and steal all this money because she says it's like I'm owed it.
Yes.
But you play it out and it's like, well, yes and no. It's not that cut and dry. And that would just totally make sense of going with Selena Kyle with this too. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like she is very much, she's not a villain, but she's not just making all the heroic choices either, but she's justified in a lot of her actions too. But it's not like all of her actions are completely squeaky clean.
Yeah.
And I think that is what makes the character of Catwoman so magnetic and interesting, is because she's not selfless, but she's not full on selfish either. So I don't know, all that bubbles and it all, I think it just works well. That being said, this was my bathroom break. I realized after the first viewing, and I remember actually watching it in Texas with Ryan Haas. And as it was coming, it got to that part, and I'm like, this is where Selena says, it's my father. Okay, I got like a minute. I got to run to the bathroom. I try to avoid it, but also when you get 30 minutes of previews before a movie even starts and the movie's almost 3 hours, it's kind of hard. But I knew this was kind of the one point and the only point in the movie that I could sacrifice a minute and a half and not be totally lost.
She tells Batman the story of her mother and how she was killed. She doesn't know who killed her. Thinks it was someone, someone at the club, someone at the whatever. And then Batman, you could even see Pattinson, his eye work and his expression. He feels bad for what he said. He said, "I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry what I said.
You just want to go put your arm around. It's okay, Batman.
Yeah.
It's okay. We all make mistakes, big guy.
Yeah. She says something interesting. And she's kind of like, well, it's okay. You always see the worst in people. And he kind of does at that point.
He's got a soft spot for her. She's got a soft spot for him.
Yes.
Which also makes this pairing really, really good, because how quickly and how like claws out she was with this conversation. And then as soon as he says, "I'm sorry," it's like her claws are retracted.
Yeah.
It's okay. You see the worst.
It's a great point that up until now, he does only see the worst in people. For the most part. He's vengeance.
That's why it's part of this chapter. Oh my God.
Yes. The whole vengeance thing ties into that, in my opinion. Like the only person he doesn't see bad in is Gordon. To that point. So she's gonna, you're gonna help your what? And Batman is, he's basically, he's kind of just like staring at her. She's kind of vamping it up a little bit at that point. A little, right? And the whole scene, I'm like, so who are you under there? What are you hiding? Are you just hideously scarred?
They loved using that line in the in all the trailers and TV spots of "Who are you under there?"
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got. I just feel like they definitely loved that line and used that a lot.
And Batman is just, and it's got double meaning because he's hideously scarred, but it's not physical.
He should have been when that bomb blew up in his face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you imagine that if that was true? And then she's like, "You're scarred," and he turns his face. She's like, "Ah."
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't you cover your face when the bomb went off? God.
Yeah, the bomb went off my face about a day ago. She said if we don't stand up for Annika, no one will. And points out, brings up, the Waynes. I mean, all these privileged white MFers, which she didn't say MFers, but
in a deleted scene, she did.
Yes, these privileged white sons of bitches.
All of them.
Yeah, and brings up the Waynes, and he's like, "What about the Waynes?" And she's like, "What? What are you talking about? The River's latest? Yeah, it's all about the Waynes.
Kiss in.
Got the kiss in. Batman's met. Help me, please." And he's like, "Don't make any moves without me." He's he's kind of mesmerized by her, and he's like, "Yeah, okay. Don't you make any moves without me?"
What about the? I mean, I know, and someone could say it's on the nose, but I mean, they don't wink at the camera, when it is the Waynes. What about the Waynes? What, do you live in a cave?
Yeah,
that's like a little like,
yeah.
And then my theater laughed a couple times, also, and I get it too, of the way that the editing is of the kiss, and then you hear this message has been approved by Thomas Wayne, and people laughed thinking like, wait, what? And then cuts into what is playing in the next scene, but people kind of laughed of like, "Oh, Bruce kisses a Selena and Thomas Wayne approves." Like something with the editing, it was just kind of funny.
Now I'm thinking.
Oh,
You can correct me
never.
because I'm thinking in this next scene, and I was okay. He is not when Selena contacts him. He's not in the bat suit.
No, I think he's still. He might be shirtless. So there's more of that budget again for the muscles. But I think he's just sitting down in the cave.
Okay, so
shirtless when the contacts.
Okay,
Says, Selena?
now my timeline makes way more sense. The Riddler's video has been out. He has left the hospital. He's back in the Batcave, doing detective work because he's a detective. Every damn scene, and that's when Selena contacts him, and she wants to meet. Then he suits up. It is dawn of the next day. Yes, there you go.
Okay,
there you go. So now he's back and he's watching the video for himself. And the whole thing comes out and we learn more.
Info drop, the performance from which it's mostly just his voice, but then at the very end, we see him all Riddlered up. Paul Dano, I think, does another really great performance here. This part is what I was saying a little bit ago of peak Bruce Wayne, of like, this is just thrown at him after he already had the Alfred scare.
Mm-hmm.
He's by himself. Selena helped out a little bit, but then this is where he's blindsided again by this allegation of the history of the Waynes and the Arkhams, which instantly, I'm sure you did too. You were like, oh, this is Earth One stuff, Batman Earth One stuff. And then that was interesting, and it again had me a little bit like, I don't know,
because
like
at that point,
squeaky clean.
Okay, because at that point, the Riddler lays out his case against Thomas Wayne, and not only Thomas Wayne, but Martha Wayne and her Arkham family that she comes from. And we learn, according to the Riddler, what he thinks is true is that you got an investigative reporter named Edward Elliott doing some digging and finds out that Martha's mother killed her father. Martha's been in and out of institutions. Arkham's, paid hush money to make it all go away and not become well known. And so Thomas Wayne thinks it's going to hurt his mayoral run and goes to Falcone and has this Elliot, this reporter, this son of a bitch, rubbed out. So Batman at that point is going, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah. And got them all. He felt like he got punched in the face.
Yeah.
And a whole reel. Gotham characters.
Yeah.
All right. So because this is very blunt, one of your favorite Batman stories, Hush. How did you feel? It happens really quickly, but you saw Edward Elliott, and then I don't know how many seconds later, Hush written big on the front screen.
Yeah.
What was your first viewing reactions to that? Do you remember?
Nothing. I don't think I snapped to that, to be honest. Don't take my Batman card away from me.
Okay.
But I don't think I snapped at that point. So, but yes, that I believe that is a clear nod to Tommy Elliott in the Hush character. Now, whether they use Hush in the future, I don't know. Maybe he's one of those characters that just exists, but we don't see, or maybe see briefly. He's part of this Batman universe. I think you get, and we're talking sequel, I think you get a little more, I don't know if you want to go back to Did you want to have a revenge type going after rich people type motivation again as a plot thread with Hush? Because that's generally what, he's blaming Bruce and especially if he thinks that Thomas Wayne had his father killed. So anyway,
so
it's a bit of a take.
No. It's interesting because, again, Matt Reeves is a fan. He does the work. Anything he put in that movie was not by accident.
Mm-hmm.
To where maybe it was another fun nod. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the story, we need Bruce Wayne killed somebody, blah, blah, blah. Hey, what about an Edward Elliot, who I was trying to think. I remember if he played a significant role in any stories. He was created by Scott Snyder and Kyle Higgins for the story Gates of Gotham. But I don't know that Edward Elliot has a huge, oh yeah, read this story because this happened causing him. And then to have Hush after an Elliot is mentioned, I was like, I wonder if he's planting seeds, or if it is just that this is a fun nod that we can do. Because as I've told you too, I think I could see him somehow doing that, but also it would maybe feel a little bit like retread of connecting back to Thomas Wayne yet again.
Mm-hmm.
But there could be a little bit of a continuation, because as the story evolves, like Bruce knows, well, Bruce and Alfred kind of know the truth, but it's not a given either. Like Gotham doesn't know.
Well, it would be hard. It would be like, let's say Thomas Wayne was alive and he was arrested. If he was arrested for, murder conspiracy because of going in cahoots with, and we know that he didn't want him to kill this Elliot.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted, him to, we know from Alfred, and we're getting ahead of it, but we know that, look, he's not completely out of without any responsibility in it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see where the sequel goes.
Yes, and we'll talk more about Thomas Wayne's involvement with the death of Edward Elliot here shortly in the upcoming chapter. But yeah, Bruce Wayne, kind of ends. Bruce Wayne, Gotham needs you to answer for the sins of your father on the video. And that's where it ends, and we'll leave off with Bruce is going straight to the source to find out. The one person who can tell him, well, the one person he thinks at that time can tell him the truth. And thus ends chapter 10, Sin to the Father. So, any final thoughts?
Yeah, this is an interesting chapter. Double gut punch to Bruce Wayne. Escalates everything, I don't know, to peak oh shit level for Bruce. And yeah, we still have like an hour to go in the movie.
I'm still at this point, first viewing, I'm all in that Thomas Wayne had this Elliot killed and went, and I believe, through Falcone, he has with Falcone, has some ties to Falcone. We know that he saved his life earlier years ago when Bruce was a kid. So I'm all in on that. And I'm glad, because, that's what makes movies fun to watch, is not always what you think it is. So yeah, at that point, Thomas Wayne, I think he's a son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. Bach.
So that's it. Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Bach.
And I'm also thinking, what the hell is going on here?
although we know where the sequel is heading. Mr. Freeze getting all those diamonds.
Yeah.
There we go. There's your Batman bingo. We've got them all.
Then you have Martinez go, hey,
Hey,
Dr. Freeze.
Dr. Freeze.
Well, he's stealing those diamonds.
Yeah.
Hey.
And then Batman comes walking in and he still says, freak.
Yeah.
Anyways,
All right.
all right.
Plug what you would like.
Plug away. All right. Check out all of my reviews on Batman comic books, and as well as other interviews and posts on Batman on Film proper. Most recently, Red Hood or White Knight, Red Hood #2 by Clay McCormick. Upcoming is the next chapter in the main Batman title, as well as the back half of Sean Murphy's White Knight series. Speaking of Sean Murphy and White Knight, check out BOF Podcast, where Javi Trujillo and I sat and talked with Sean Murphy again. Awesome conversation. Big fan of the guy. He's been generous to BOF, and just really a fun listen. Had a really good time talking to him. Also, check out the BOF podcast feed for Batman Animation. There are 2 episodes now available of Batman Animation. The first one launched by me and Ryan Haas. The second one with Bill here with Javi Trujillo. And Bill, you guys got me to watch and seek out something, the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh.
Did you
well
seen
done.
it?
Yes, I watched it for the first time.
Did
Batman
you like
Brave
it?
and the Bold episode. I did. I thought it was fun. I'll leave it at that because I got to listen to your guys' discussion. I haven't been able to yet. And then check out my podcast, The Batman Book Club. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts. The most recent episode was with my Boudin Pocket King, Peter Vera, where we did our wrap up of new Batman comics in August. Bill also posts those on Batman on Film. Follow that on Twitter at the Batman BC. Okay, there we go.
Did you like this part of that episode? What a sad planet, plagued by both crime and poor building codes.
Yeah.
All right. For me, yes.
I was going to say that I get totally nerdy in animation when I know they paid specific attention to the voice cast and who they cast for movies or episodes. And I applauded that right away.
Did you enjoy the cold opening of that episode of The Brave and the Bold, which had Mattress Malone and Doc Magnus and the Metal Men on a foreign planet trying to capture Kanjar Row?
I liked that. Matches Malone was in it.
Okay.
The rest of it, any kind of deep pulls or whatever, was lost on me.
Okay. All right. That's one of the reasons why I enjoy this. I mean, I listened to the episode, but I'll say it's some of the stuff, most of it is so ridiculous, but it works in that series.
Mm-hmm.
And it's why it's so great. Anyway, I'm not going to go off on that tangent.
Oh, yeah. Follow on Twitter at Batmanimation.
Yes, at Batman.
Do that. Upcoming episodes
You're making me say that word. At Batmanimation.
Batmanimation.
All right. You can, let's see, quickly, just follow me on Twitter at Batman on Film. All of these shows, the ones that Ryan mentioned, this show, others, there's a whole list of them are part of the Batman Podcast Network. If you go to Batman on Film, find the logo, the BPN logo, or go find podcast and drop down and it'll take you to that page. If you want to support Batman on Film, become a patron through patreon.com, patreon.com/Batman on Film. And if you want to advertise on Batman on Film, go to advertisecast.com, advertisecast.com/Batman on Film. That's all I got. Announcer Rachel will take us out, and we'll be back soon for chapter 11 of the Batman, chapter by chapter, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the BOF Social Hour, Jett's official vlog and podcast on Batman on Film. Follow Jett on Twitter at Batman on Film. Follow the BOF newsfeed on Twitter at the Batman on Film. For Jett and everyone at BOF, I'm announcer Rachel. Authoritative, definitive, the original, Batman on Film, established in 1998.